Welcome to the Alaska Raptor Center.
All right, yeah.
Look what I found! So excited!
Hi, I'm Matthew.
And I'm Susan. Together we love to travel.
One of our favorite places to be
Is aboard a Norwegian ship at sea.
good food, drinks, and friends.
Make a relaxing trip indeed,
So come along with us.
as we let the sea set us free.
Birds that won't make it through rehabilitation and end up staying here permanently with us here at the center, which you will get to meet one of those special residents later on today. But for those who do make it, we get a little emotional after spending so much time working to rehabilitate them and release them into the wild. When this happens, we gather all of our staff and employees, all of our volunteers, and we take them up to our twin sister mountains, which is just a little pathway. I shouldn't say it. It sounds like we go hiking. But we go up our trail and we release them back there. They take flight, often soar off into the mountains. They don't look back. They don't write. They don't call. Not even a tweet, which is really low in my opinion. But that's okay. It's all part of the job. We have around 31 volunteers that donate over 800 hours of their time to this center every year, which is just beyond believable for me. They help us do dirty work like cleaning out eagle enclosures. Do I have any takers on that one? I didn't think so. Okay. But without their help, this would pretty much be impossible, so we're very thankful for them. They help us with our, of course, permanent residents, which you guys will get to meet one just here in a few seconds. But before that happens, I have a few special requests from you guys. So when the bird comes out, we're all going to stay seated, just so no one spooks or startles the bird, which means if someone's in the way of that perfect shot with your camera, just go ahead and hold your phone up above your head, just so that standing won't scare the bird, of course. Also, make sure those ringers are off once again. Flash is okay in here, but other than that, oh, and when the bird goes to leave, please do not applause. Big applause after they leave. But anyways, without further ado, I would like to introduce to you guys Diana and Spirit, and I'll let you guess who's who.
Thanks for coming to the Raptor Center today. My name is Diana, and more importantly, this is our bald eagle named Spirit. It says hello. So Spirit has been with us since 2016, and we knew that she was actually only a few months old when she came in. She was full grown, but she looked a lot different. She didn't have the classic white head and tail that you see here today. It takes 5 years to actually get this adult plumage. But when she came in, she was this really dark chocolate brown color all over. Even her eyes and her beak were almost black in color. They were really dark. And so all of those features, they gradually changed during the first 5 years of a bald eagle's life. Spirit is 7 years old today. But when she did come in, she had a few injuries. She was found on the side of the road in Juneau. And we don't know exactly what happened. We are thinking she probably was struck by a vehicle because of the injuries that she had. To start, she was really, really skinny. She was starving. And the side of a road is a great place to maybe find some easy prey like roadkill, especially for an inexperienced eagle like Spirit at the time. She also had an injury to her eye, so you might be... You're so funny. You might be able to tell from where you're sitting that her left eye is darker than her right eye, and that pupil is more dilated. She has only about 20% of her vision in that eye, we believe. It's very scratched up there. But a one-eyed eagle can still survive in the wild, so we were really hopeful that she would make a full recovery while she was here, and then we could release her. So we had her in the flight training center that you guys were just in with those bald eagles, And we were just observing how well she was flying, kind of making sure she had, the natural behaviors we're looking for a healthy eagle. But we noticed some abnormal behaviors in her. So to start, she wasn't really flying in a straight line, which was a little concerning to us. And her reaction time seemed really delayed. It would take her a few seconds to react to anything around her. And that can be really detrimental in the wild if you're trying to catch a fish going upstream. You want to really have your timing down for that. So we also noticed that she would do this thing sometimes where she would jump off of a perch like she was going to take flight. She would do a complete backflip on the air and land on the ground, which is not normal and not really helpful for an eagle in the wild. But all of these behaviors told us that she probably had a lot more head trauma than we originally believed that she did with her injury. So especially given how young she was, she didn't really have any experience or skills to begin with, just being a few months old. And so we knew it would be really hard for her to learn how to survive after this head trauma. So we decided it was in her best interest to not release her. So this is her home now. She basically grew up with us, so she is very comfortable with us here. You can tell this is like a very comfortable eagle. She has all of her head feathers nice and fluffy. That tells me she's very relaxed. And she's, if anything, mostly just concerned with what's in my So I've worked with Spirit for several years now. We actually both started at the center at the same time. So I could go on and on about her. Do you guys have any questions about Spirit or eagles or anything that we do here?
How old do you think she will live to?
Well, under human care, eagles can live quite old. In the wild, 20 to 25 years is a great lifespan, but we can usually at least double their lifespan here. There are eagles that are in their late 40s, early 50s under human care. So they're very long-lived. Yeah, Spirit doesn't have any competition here. She gets room service every day. And so there's no worries about where she gets from. She's like laughing with you guys. And we have great health care for her here, of course, too. So we have a bald eagle that you'll see today outside that is at least 38 years old. He's probably older than that. Yeah.
Yeah, how do you preserve the beautiful feather and keep the bald eagles clean, especially when their habitat is basically permanently here?
Yeah, so that's all her. She does all that. So we just have to provide a bath and what we call weathering. So we'll make sure that they are exposed to the elements outside, and that really encourages them to take care of their feathers. So she will preen every day, she'll bathe. They have a gland kind of in the lower back area. And so they can reach their head around and to that gland on their lower back, and that gland secretes an oil that's like a weatherproofing too. So they'll run that through their feathers as well. So this is all her. Yeah. Did you have a question?
How do you find them?
How do we find them? So we're very lucky that we have a lot of support, not just in Sitka, but all over the state. So anyone local here in Sitka, if they see a bird that's injured, they call us and we will go rescue that bird. We work with the state troopers, we work with Alaska Fish and Wildlife all over the state. And even just everyday citizens in other towns and villages in Alaska, they know us because we're the only place that really rehabs bald eagles in the state. And I always like to shout out Alaska Airlines because they transport eagles to us from every corner of Alaska for free for treatment. And Spirit was actually named by Alaska Airlines, Spirit of Alaska. Any questions in the back?
Yeah, so I'm thinking of like dimensions. What do they weigh? What does she weigh? How big is her wingspan?
So Spirit's wingspan is about 6.5 feet. They can get up to 8 feet here in Alaska. We get really big birds up here. She only weighs 11 pounds. I know that she looks, I always say she looks like the size of a Labrador or something. But she is 10 and a half, 11 pounds right now. They're really mostly feathers. My favorite fact about bald eagles is actually if you were to take all of her feathers and weigh them, they would weigh over twice as much as her skeleton. So they're literally feathers and feathers. Question there?
So, if the birds come even from the continental U.S., do they come up here, or is it?
For treatment, you mean?
Yeah.
So we are only able to treat birds in Alaska.
Okay.
Yes.
And do they, if they're come from a different part of Alaska, when you release them, do they try to go home, or do they stay in this area?
So we, for the most part, we will release them here when it comes to bald eagles. Southeast Alaska is the best place for bald eagles. And so we have no problem releasing them here. If we know, so if they come in with a brood patch, so what that is when they have eggs in their nest, they will pluck out some of the feathers in their stomach so it's bare skin, and that helps to incubate the eggs better. And so if they come in with that bare skin patch, then we know they have a nest with eggs probably, and so we will try to release them as close as we can to where they were rescued.
And we have time for about one more.
Questions? You have a question there?
Do they ever fight with each other?
Do they fight with each other? So they will only really fight over food. And so like where there are 5 eagles in there, we provide more than enough food for them, so they don't have any reason to fight in there. We're lucky living here. We have a lot of people that donate fish, including like fishermen and the cannery and everything, so we can provide plenty of fish for them. But I'm going to go ahead and put her back in her enclosure. Thank you guys for being a great audience for us this morning.
Make sure you hold your paws and stay seated.
Thank you.